Jodi Arias walked into Travis Alexander's life as a smiling young woman. But by June 2008, their broken relationship had become one of America's most watched murder cases. 5 days after Travis was killed in his own home, friends found the truth, and a camera in the room would help tell the story. What happened between two people who once seemed close, and why did the whole world stop to watch the trial? Learn English with true stories. Listening, shadowing, main points on screen, and review at the end. Travis Alexander was born on July 28, 1977, in California. His early life was not easy, but he grew into a man who wanted more from life. As an adult, he worked in sales, spoke at business events, and built a wide circle of friends. People who knew Travis often described him as social, funny, and full of energy. He lived in Mesa, Arizona, and he was active in his church community. He wanted success, family, and a good future. Jodi Arias was born on July 9, 1980 in California. Before the case became famous, she worked different jobs, including photography and sales. She could seem calm, friendly, and easy to talk to. In September 2006, Jodi and Travis met at a business conference in Las Vegas. At first, the connection felt strong. They talked, spent time together, and soon began a relationship that moved quickly. But from the outside, no one could see how complicated the relationship would become. Travis was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Jodi later joined the church, and Travis baptized her in November 2006. For a time, they seemed close, and their lives became deeply connected. Still, the relationship had problems. Friends later said there were arguments, mixed feelings, and a lot of contact, even after they broke up. By June 2007, the romantic relationship had ended, but the connection did not fully stop. After the breakup, Travis began to move on with his life. He dated other women, spent time with friends, and kept working. Jodi, however, was still around his world in different ways. There were messages, calls, and visits. At times, the relationship seemed friendly. At other times, it seemed tense, confusing, and hard to leave behind. Then came a trip that would change everything. In early June 2008, Jodi was living in California. Travis was in Mesa, Arizona. Around that time, he was preparing for a trip to Cancun, Mexico, with friends from work. On June 4, 2008, Jodi went to Travis's home in Mesa. Evidence later showed that they spent time together that day. Photos from a digital camera placed both of them in the house. The pictures had timestamps. Some showed ordinary moments. Others became key pieces of evidence because they helped investigators build a timeline. Later that day, Travis Alexander was killed inside his home. The details were serious, and the case became known for its violence, but the most important fact is clear. Travis did not survive that day, and Jodi left Arizona soon after. For several days, no one knew what had happened. Travis missed calls, messages, and plans. Friends became worried because he was normally active and easy to reach. When he did not answer, concern turned into fear. On June 9, 2008, friends went to his house in Mesa. Inside, they found Travis dead, and they called police. A normal home had become the center of a murder investigation. From that moment, the case moved fast. Detectives looked at the home, collected evidence, and searched for answers. They needed to know who had been with Travis before he died. One item in the house would become a turning point. Investigators found a digital camera in the washing machine. It had been damaged, but technicians were able to recover photos from it. Those photos showed Travis alive on June 4th, and they showed Jodi there too. The camera did more than place Jodi in the house. It helped create a timeline for the last day of Travis's life. In a case full of stories, the camera gave investigators something hard to ignore. There was also a palm print at the scene. It contained blood, and testing connected it to both Travis and Jodi. This was another major piece of evidence. At first, Jodi told police she had not been in Mesa on the day Travis died. She denied being there. But the evidence did not match that story. When a story changes, investigators start listening even more closely. After police questioned her, Jodi changed her account. She then said that she had been at the house, but she claimed that 2 intruders had attacked Travis. According to that version, she escaped and did not tell police because she was scared. Investigators did not accept that explanation. The evidence pointed in another direction, and the intruder story did not hold up. Over time, Jodi's words became a central part of the case. On July 15, 2008, Jodi Arias was arrested in California. She was later charged with first-degree murder in Arizona. The case now moved from the crime scene to the courtroom. For Travis's family, the pain was not only losing him. They also had to hear different versions of what happened. Each new claim brought more attention, more questions, and more grief. Before the trial, the public already knew the case was unusual. There was a broken relationship, changing stories, digital evidence, and a victim with many friends who wanted justice. News programs began to follow the case closely, but the trial would become bigger than almost anyone expected. The trial began in January 2013 in Maricopa County, Arizona. It was televised, and viewers across the United States watched day after day. People followed testimony, evidence, and courtroom moments like a long drama. The prosecution argued that Jodi had planned the killing. They pointed to the trip, the camera, the palm print, and other evidence. They said she went to Travis's home, attacked him, and then tried to hide what had happened. The defense told a different story. Jodi testified that Travis had attacked her first, and she claimed she acted in self-defense. This became her third main version of events, after denial and the intruder story. For many viewers, the changing stories were hard to understand. One moment, she was not there. Then, intruders were responsible. Later, she said she killed him to protect herself. In court, every detail mattered. Jodi spent many days on the witness stand. She answered questions about her life, her relationship with Travis, and the day he died. The questioning was long, and at times, it became tense. Prosecutor Juan Martinez challenged her again and again. He pressed her on memory, messages, travel plans, and the evidence. His style was direct, and the courtroom often felt full of pressure. The defense tried to show that the relationship had a darker side. They said Jodi felt controlled and hurt. Their goal was to make the jury believe that she acted in fear, not with a plan. The prosecution rejected that idea. They argued that Jodi was angry, jealous, and unwilling to let go. They said the evidence showed planning, not panic. Outside the courtroom, people took sides. Some watched because they cared about justice for Travis. Others watched because the case had become a media storm. For Travis's family, the public attention could not change the simple truth. A son, brother, and friend was gone. Behind every headline, there was real loss. Then, the jury had to decide what story they believed. On May 8, 2013, Jodi Arias was found guilty of first-degree murder. The verdict brought a major answer, but it did not end the legal process. The next question was sentencing. The jury then had to decide whether she should receive the death penalty. They could not reach a final agreement. Because of that, a second penalty phase was later held. In the second penalty phase, another jury also could not agree on death. Under Arizona law, that meant the judge would decide between life options. The case had already taken years, and the final sentence was still ahead. On April 13, 2015, Jodi Arias was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The court process had reached its end. Travis's family finally had a legal result, although nothing could bring him back. The case remains famous for several reasons. It had a relationship that looked normal from far away, but became deeply troubled up close. It had digital evidence that spoke when people told different stories. It also showed how a trial can become a national event. Millions of people watched clips, read updates, and argued about the case online. The courtroom became a place where private messages, personal pain, and public judgment met. But if we look past the noise, the heart of the story is simple and sad. Two people met, connected, and became part of each other's lives. Then the relationship broke down. Instead of ending quietly, it moved toward control, anger, fear, and finally, a deadly act. The story also shows why evidence matters. Photos, timestamps, phone records, travel details, and forensic results helped create a picture of what happened. In a serious case, facts have to stand stronger than stories. For English learners, this kind of real story can be powerful because it uses the language of life. People meet, fall in love, break up, move on, tell the truth, hide facts, face questions, and deal with consequences. These are not just words from a textbook. They are words connected to choices, emotions, and real events. That is why stories stay in the mind. Years after the trial, people still remember the name Jodi Arias. Some remember the courtroom scenes. Some remember the changing stories. Others remember the shock of the verdict and the long wait for sentencing. But Travis Alexander should not be lost inside the case name. He was a real person with friends, plans, jokes, work, faith, and family. His life was more than the way it ended. That is one reason true crime must be told with care. The facts matter, but the people matter too. A case is not just a puzzle, and a victim is not just a headline. In the end, the night Jodi Arias killed Travis Alexander became a story about obsession, choices, and the truth that evidence can bring to light. It was not a mystery that ended with a simple answer, but a case that showed how a broken bond can turn into lasting tragedy. Stories like this leave a quiet warning. When love turns into control and when anger replaces respect, the danger can grow behind closed doors. The Jodi Arias case reminds us that truth may be delayed, but it often finds a way into the open. Let's quickly retrace our steps today. Full of energy, having a lot of power to be active. The children are always full of energy when they play outside. Complicated, difficult to understand because it has many parts. The instructions for the new game are very complicated. Break up to end a romantic relationship. They decided to break up after being together for 2 years. Move on to accept a bad situation and be ready for something new. After losing his job, he found it very hard to move on. Tense, causing feelings of worry or nervousness. The room was silent and the atmosphere was very tense. Timestamp, a record of the exact time and date something happened. The email has a timestamp that shows when it was sent. Survive, to continue to live, especially after a dangerous event. It's amazing that the cat was able to survive the fire. Turning point, a time when an important change happens. Getting that new job was a real turning point in her life. Deny, to say that something is not true. He will deny that he ate the last piece of cake. Account, a description of an event, a story. Could you give me a clear account of what happened last night? Hold up, to seem true or correct when checked. His excuse for being late simply did not hold up. Grief, very great sadness, especially when someone dies. The family is still feeling a lot of grief after their loss. Testimony, a formal statement made in a court of law. Her testimony was very important for winning the case. Self-defense, protecting yourself from an attack. Many people learn a martial art for self-defense, take sides to support one person against another in an argument. When my two best friends argue, I try not to take sides. Deal with, to take action to solve a problem or do a task. You must deal with your problems instead of ignoring them. If this story helped you listen, feel, and learn English at the same time, stay close to this channel. Here, we explore fascinating real stories, surprising facts, real crime cases, and remarkable moments from history, science, and human life, while helping you improve and master your English through stories that are hard to forget.